Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today it's the day when I take this beast for the first service. I know all of you guys have been waiting for this video. Let's see how many kilometers it has clocked. So it says 1067 kilometers and there is a service reminder here. So stay tuned in this video. I'll reveal everything about the first service. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the video. Just can't wait to pull the throttle after the first service. For the last 1000 kilometers I have been very gentle on the throttle, though it was exciting to ride in the first 1000 kilometers by staying under 6 to 7000 rpm as well. But the real potential we'll get to know after we wide open the throttle, and I'm really excited for that. I know even you guys are excited for that, and why not? When you have a beast like RS 457, why not enjoy the full potential of the bike? But staying under the limits, not speeding on public roads. These bikes are meant to be enjoyed, but with some sense of responsibility. I'll make sure that I don't set any incorrect example, because most of my viewers are from the age group of 20 to 30. It is very easy for them to get carried away. I don't want to do that. There are a lot of questions when it comes to servicing of the RS 457, because everyone wants to know how much is the first service charge. So the first, second and third service charge is free. Having said that, only the labor amount is free. The parts which will be changed in it, the engine oil or the oil filter, whatever is changed, that will be chargeable. And you guys also wanted to know what are the costs for the other spare parts. So I'll try to answer all of those in this video. This will be the first bike to get serviced here in Hyderabad. There is a test bike which has already been serviced before this bike, so they have the experience of servicing it, but I don't know how well they are going to perform it, because this is the first time that this company is having such kind of a bike which needs to be serviced, and they have a technician specially trained for the RS 457. I'll see how the service experience is, and I'll keep you guys posted about the same as we are about to approach the showroom here. So guys, I have reached the showroom. This is the Aprilia Vespa showroom here in Hyderabad at Kukatpalli Y Junction. The service center is backside. हाय सर, कैसे हैं? वो थोड़ा लेट हो गया घर से निकलने में, 11:27, ट्रैफिक भी बहुत है. Finally, the bike is serviced and I am going to take a test ride right now. Everything is done, chain lubing is done, and the service reminder has gone. It shows next service in 4912 kilometers. That is when the odometer reads 6000 kilometers, I have to come for the second service. The bike is definitely feeling more smooth, and this, oh my god, now I get to experience the actual potential of this bike. I don't want to pull it too much. The bike feels really lively after 6000 rpm. Below 6000 rpm also, it has ample amount of torque. This is really a monster. One hell of an engine. Let me do the payment and head back home. We'll reach home in some time now, and after reaching home I'll tell you in detail what all happened at the service center, how was the service experience, what are the parts that were changed, and the golden question, how much did it cost for the first service. So all those questions will be answered now. Let me reach home. I'll see you there. Now that I'm back from the service center, let me give you a detailed step-by-step things which were carried out at the service center. So once I reached the service center, I met the service advisor over there. The service advisor asked for the booklet, that is the booklet that we get with the RS457. It has 3 free service coupon. They took one of the service coupon, they filled and asked for a sign from me because the first service is supposed to free. Having said that, the labor charges of the first service is free. So they will just charge you for the consumables that is being added to the bike. So after doing this, the bike was loaded onto the service ramp. So there is a dedicated service ramp for the RS457. Not only the RS457, but all the other super bikes that are launching from Aprilia in the coming months. That is the 660 models and the Aprilia RS V4s. All these super bikes will be serviced at the same ramp. And there is a dedicated technician for servicing these bikes, that is the super bikes. The dedicated technician will only work on this bike, no other technician will be working on it. So they started with inspection of the bike. First they inspected whether the bike had any punctures or any issues with the headlight or the tail lamp or the indicators. They even asked me if I have any complaints with the bike. Because I did not have any complaints with the bike, so they started with this service. So first what they did was they removed the air filter that is placed in the front side of the tank. They removed the tank cover and then they accessed the airbox, and from the airbox the air filter was removed. Since this was just a first service at 1000 kilometers, they said that the air filter need not be changed. They just cleaned it and cleaned the entire airbox and then they reinstalled it, because they said in the second service it might be changed depending on the condition of the air filter. If it does not require to be changed at the next service, it will not be changed. But mostly if you are riding in dusty conditions in our Indian cities are not that great, so it is highly possible that in the second service this air filter might be changed. So in this service it was not changed. After doing that, they moved ahead with changing of the removing the engine oil from the engine. So they removed the bolt and the engine oil was removed from bottom. After doing that, they removed the front compartment where the exhaust pipe is located, and that's where the oil filter is present. So they removed that oil filter, and after removing that oil filter they took the new oil filter, filled that oil filter with oil, cleaned that entire area with the petrol where the oil filter has to be installed, and then the oil filter was installed. After installing the oil filter, now it was time to fill the engine oil in the bike. So engine oil which Aprilia is recommending is Castrol Power 1, which is fully synthetic 10W50 super sports bike engine oil. That was the engine oil that was recommended. So they filled 2 liters of this engine oil onto the RS457. After filling the oil, then they checked for any leakages which can happen. They made sure all the screws and the oil cap is tightened enough, and then they cleaned the entire engine area as well as the oil filter area where there can be chances of oil spilling, because they were changing these parts. So they cleaned it with petrol so that it does not attract any dust. After doing all these things, they again reinstalled the fairing part which was removed in order to change the oil filter, and after that they moved ahead with opening and inspecting the brake pads. So front brake pads was removed, and they used sandpaper to rub the brake pads to make sure that it is even, and they cleaned the brake caliper with air, that is pressurized air. The front and the rear calipers both were cleaned, and over here also you can see that the brake pads which my bike is having, It is having sintered brake pads from Brembo, that is double edge grade brake pads. I did even check the other bikes which were there at the showroom. Even the display bike had the sintered brake pads. The way you can make out whether it has sintered brake pads or organic brake pads is the organic brake pads will be black in color, whereas the sintered brake pads will always come in rose gold color. So the same color which you find on iPhones, that is the same color that you will find on the Brembo double edge grade sintered brake pads. And if you see the any bike which has rose gold color brake pads in RS457, you can be confirmed that it is using the sintered brake pads from Brembo. So that doubt is also clear. I'm not sure why other reviewers are saying that their test bikes are having the organic brake pads, but whatever bikes I have seen here in Hyderabad, at least all of them have sintered brake pads. Now moving ahead, after this what they did was they again went for after changing the oil, cleaning the brake pads, they fitted everything to the bike and they went for a test ride. Though, so the technician took a test ride of the bike to just to make sure that the service has been carried forwarded at the optimum level, and after that they gave the bike a nice wash. That is, they washed it with water, then they cleaned it with foam, and then after that they used pressurized air in order to remove any water which can be left over inside, and then they wiped it with a cloth. After all this was done, there is one more thing that was carried out before the washing. That was they sprayed a chain cleaner on that. After spraying the chain cleaner, only then the bike was washed, and then after washing again the chain was cleaned and it was lubricated with a castrol chain spray. That is the spray that Aprilia is recommending, so they have used that chain spray. And after all these things were done, last thing was to connect the bike to the OBD port, and the bike was connected to the laptop software which Aprilia has the official software on their laptop. Then what they do over there is they perform a series of checks with respect to all the sensor and the electronics which is there on the bike. It checks for any fault. After that, after all those procedures are performed, the service reminder which is there on the bike, that is cleared through the software. So the service reminder on the RS457 cannot be cleared using combination of buttons as you do on the KTMs or any other brand of motorcycles. It can only be cleared by the service center by using the software, using the OBD scanner that is present in the bike. So that was done. After all these things were done, and then they asked me to take a test ride of the bike. So I personally took a test ride of the bike, and they were asking for my feedback, like how it is performing, is there any issues, and they were happy to accept any type of feedback that I was about to give. So because I did not have any issues with the bike even after the test ride, so I said everything was well and good. And post this is when they generated the invoice, and the amount that I had to pay was 2,900 rupees for the first service. This just included the parts. So I'll give you a breakdown of the amount that was charged for the parts. There are only two things over here. One is the engine oil, other one is the oil filter. So the engine oil, they use the Castrol Power One, as I said earlier. That is 2 liters of oil, and each liter costs around 850 rupees. So 850 into 2 becomes 1700 rupees roughly. So 1700 for the engine oil, and the oil filter costed 1189 rupees, almost close to 1200 rupees. I know the oil filter is a bit more when you compare to the KTMs, but when you compare to the Kawasaki's, even the Ninja 300 or the 400, the oil filter over there costs almost the same, because it is not using an internal oil filter like the KTMs, but it is using an external oil filter. So that's the reason why the cost of the oil filter is high. So these were the costs that were that was charged by the Aprilia service center for the first service. And I did try to inquire about the other charges, like when it comes for the paid service in the fourth service, what will be the labor charge, because they did not have any price list as of now, so they could not comment on that. And I even tried to ask for the charges of the air filter, because I'm sure it will be replaced in the next service, but they are not aware of the charges of the air filter. The size of the air filter is same as the KTM's, you can say, so it should not cost much. That's what I'm expecting. But one good thing that I like about Aprilia service is they're not charging you anything apart from these two consumables. They even did a top up for the coolant. So they opened the coolant box and they saw that the coolant level was slightly below the maximum level. So they did top it up a little bit to make sure that it is at the maximum level. And then they did not charge for cleaning or lubricating the chain or topping up of the coolant. So usually companies, they do charge for topping up the coolant, the brake oil, or chain cleaning and lubrication, but Aprilia did not charge for any of those things. And I think it is a decent cost that Aprilia is charging for the first service of RS457. 2,900 rupees is not much when you compare it with the price point of the bike, that is around 5 lakh rupees. So you can estimate somewhere around 5,000 to 6,000 rupees for a full paid service, where the engine oil filter, air filter, labor charges, as well as fuel filter, if all of these things get changed, it should not cross 5 to 6,000 rupees, and that is not a bad price at all. It is really good. And I want to talk about the experience that I had at the service center. So I saw that the technician was well trained. He knew about each and every part of the bike, and he knew how to service it, what all things needs to be checked. Everything was performed according to the standard operating procedure. There was no kind of jugaad or no shortcuts done while servicing the bike. I even liked the response from the service manager and the store owner, who was at the Premier Automobiles here in Hyderabad. They were really helpful towards me, and they were constantly asking me if at all I have any issues, I can directly give them a call and they'll be ready to help me. That is the level of customer experience which is required from a brand which is starting in a segment which they did not have any experience with. And Aprilia has done a fantastic job of setting the sales team over here in the service stations. And these guys who are working at the service station, they are making sure to give you the optimal service experience which a customer expects after spending 5 lakh rupees. So I'm not at all disappointed. Kudos to Aprilia. I just hope they carry forward this level of customer service experience throughout. Even when their sales increases, the number of bikes at the service center increases, if they are able to keep it up, it is definitely going to blow up the sales number for Aprilia. And as you already know, this bike, it is a serious competitor, and when it comes to the competition, it almost kills every other bike with respect to price, with respect to features, with respect to the power. The best thing about this bike is its engine. When you have the best engine in the segment, why would you go for any other bike? So that was a quick summary of the service experience that I had. Now I know all of you might be having a lot of questions, like how does the bike feels like after it got serviced, and what do I feel about riding it. Now that it is serviced, I can take it to the red line, I can enjoy the bike, I can feel the full potential of the bike. So all those videos will be coming up in future. For that, you will have to stay tuned on my channel and hit that subscribe button. Share this video with your friends or your motorcycle enthusiast who is interested to know about the RS457, and I'll be making a lot of videos for you guys. Thank you for showing all the support and love, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.